This is a final hearing involving the Montoya child. Mr. Graff is covering for Mr. Alvey, representing the department. Ms. Ledbetter is with us for CASA. Ms. Holcomb is with us representing the child. Ms. Lucero is with us representing the mother. Ms. Silva, who is also with us. Ms. Grant is with us representing the father, Mr. Montoya. He is not with us and not in the waiting room. Ms. Grant, were you expecting him?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I have Bill Hamker in the waiting room, and I can't figure out why. Does anybody know?
He's got an intervention motion in the next matter, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Okay. This case was set for 9:30. It's now 9:50. We'll proceed in Mr. Montoya's absence. I've got Peggy Cheney, Hannah Nichols, and Tori Cook in the waiting room.
Tori Cook is my permanency specialist. If you would let her in, that would be great. I'm not sure about the other two folks.
Okay. All right, Ms. Cook is with us, so we are ready to proceed.
Okay. Judge, what I'd like to do is father's relinquishment has been filed. I'd like to prove that up first, and then my understanding is we were looking at a potential dismissal with PMC as to the mother. St. Francis filed an amended court report and has some issues they want to put on the record on that. So if we could start with father's relinquishment and prove that up first, that would be great.
Okay. Ms. Cook, your witness?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Right. Ms. Cook, if you'd unmute. Thank you, ma'am. If you raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Graff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Cook. What is your current job title and employer?
Permanency specialist with St. Francis Ministries.
Okay, and how long have you been employed as such with St. Francis?
For about 3.5 years.
Okay, and what's your educational background and training?
I do have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and then did 3 weeks of on-the-job training with St. Francis.
Okay, and you've received specialized training in child welfare, termination cases, relinquishments?
Correct.
Okay, and how are you the assigned caseworker for Javier Montoya?
Yes.
Okay, and when were you assigned?
I was assigned about a year ago.
Okay, and were you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just a little less than a year ago.
Okay, so were you involved in the execution of the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment by Mr. Jose Lopez Montoya regarding Javier Montoya?
Yes.
And what date and what location was that affidavit signed?
That affidavit was signed in Texline, and it was on sorry, I had to pull it up. On the 23rd of April.
Okay. And who was present during the signing?
CASA was present, and then, well, both the CASA supervisor and the advocate. I was present, Jose was present, and then an additional witness.
Okay. And the signature was notarized?
Yes.
Okay. And you filed that with the court?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did that affidavit comply with the Texas Family Code requirements, including being signed at least 48 hours after the child's birth?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to the signing, did you or anyone else explain the contents and the legal effects of the affidavit to Mr. Montoya?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did he appear to understand that signing would permanently terminate his parental rights to Javier?
He did.
Okay. And did he ask any questions or express any hesitation?
He did not.
Okay. And in your observation, did he sign the affidavit freely and voluntarily without any coercion, duress, fraud, or undue influence?
Yes.
Okay. And did he have an opportunity to speak with his attorney before he signed?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Has he attempted to revoke the affidavit, to your knowledge?
No.
Okay. And what were the circumstances briefly that led to the department involvement in the filing of this petition?
We got involved due to domestic violence between parents. And since then, it's been Jose's wish to not have any rights to Javier.
Okay. Did he have any substantive involvement in terms of service compliance, visitation, anything like that?
He didn't. No, he did not.
Okay. And have you had contact with him since he signed the relinquishment document?
Not since he is signed, no, sir.
Okay. And in your professional opinion, is termination of his parental rights in Javier's best interest?
Yes.
Why is that?
Due to him not wanting anything to do with Javier, he didn't want to work services. He has not seen the child since the beginning of this case. So I believe it's in his best interest.
Okay. And how is Javier doing? I believe he's currently placed with his mother. How is he doing in that placement?
He's doing well. He's remained healthy. He got put in daycare. Mom got him set up with ECI services. He's doing really well.
Okay. And he's stable where he's at?
He is.
Okay. And any risk to Javier if his father's rights are not terminated?
Just potential, if he were to be involved again with the domestic violence, that would be a concern.
Okay. Is there anything else you believe the court should know regarding the relinquishment or Javier's best interest?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further past the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Lucero.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Grant.
No questions.
All right, Ms. Holcomb.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Graff, anything further from the department?
Not on this issue, Your Honor.
Okay, well, anyone else have anything on this issue? I've got an affidavit of relinquishment on file, so I guess we're through with that issue.
Okay. And Judge, before we continue with some brief questions, I do have a question for the court. This is obviously not my case. There was some question about when the actual dismissal date was. It looks to me that the dismissal date currently is August 31 of this year. And that was after recalculating the dismissal date when the child was placed back with the mother. Just want to make sure I have that right.
That's what I have.
Okay.
Leslie, is that what you have too?
It's actually
Your
Gail for
Honor,
this one, Judge.
That's my case, and that's the date I have. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So I think we're all in agreement the dismissal date's August 31st.
Great, thank you. Now, Ms. Cook, my understanding is, again, that we were originally planning to dismiss today, but based on your amended court report, are there some concerns that you would like the court to be made aware of?
Yes.
Okay, can you please give an update to the court about what those concerns are?
There is currently an active investigation. Looks like it opened on April 27th.
As the mother?
Yes, on the mother. Just in regards to concerns about the George Molina that we had court ordered and done a safety plan on for him not to be around the children. I have talked with the investigator. And there was also concerns of her being behind on rent and getting kicked out. I've talked to the investigator multiple times. We were not able to confirm with that landlord that she was behind on rent. It seemed that there were some personal issues there, and that mom has now moved to a new place. She has gotten a physical lease agreement and keeping a paper trail, so that does not happen any longer. Investigations also spoke with many collaterals and the people who had these concerns in the first place. And they said that they have not seen this man, nor has there been yelling or fighting in that apartment since October of last year. They have also spoken with George. He is out of town working, and he has been for a few months and will continue to be working out of town for almost a year. So those were the concerns brought up. I believe investigations is going to close and rule out any abuse or neglect.
So what is your position about dismissal with permanent managing conservatorship today? What is St. Francis' position on that issue today?
I think especially with mom just moving to a new place and still getting settled, if we could stay in just for another 60 days to make sure that she's able to provide that stability and permanency.
Thank you. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Lucero?
Ms. Cook, so just to be clear, I guess there was allegations that Natalie was behind on her rent, but then that has been ruled out. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, and then there was allegations about George Molina being around, things like that, but that that's been ruled out, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, the apartment that Natalie had been living in with the boys, she'd been in that apartment for quite a while, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then she's the baby that she has, she's had that baby with her since her younger child, since the baby was born, and child was never removed during this case with Javier, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And would you agree with me that she was doing well in that apartment, except for then the allegations of late rent, which have been ruled out, came up, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so as far as her care of the children, there have not been any allegations about abuse or neglect regarding the two boys. Is that right?
The younger one is a girl, but yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. Okay. And so, so I understand that y'all want to stay in like another 60 days, but as far as the kids being in any type of danger, she has a new home for them, things like that. There's really not any concerns as far as her not being able to take care of her children at this time. Is that right?
That's correct. Our only concern is, even though George is working far away and they say they're not in a relationship, I mean, there's still Facebook interactions and things like that. So if he were to come back, that is one of our concerns.
And as far as him working out of town, he's like working offshore somewhere in Louisiana. Isn't that right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Grant?
Nothing additional, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Holcomb.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. All right, anybody have anything further for Ms. Cook?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Graff, anything further from the department?
Nothing further from the department, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Lucero, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor. I would just like the court to take into consideration that, of course, she had issues with the landlord. She took steps to make sure the kids had a place to stay. She's been compliant, so we would ask the court to dismiss out today. Dismiss the department today.
All right, Ms. Grant, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor. I would just like to put on the record that we appreciate the assistance in getting the relinquishment executed, Your Honor, as the distance between my office and Mr. Montoya was logistically difficult. I did have an opportunity to discuss the relinquishment with him, and he has made no effort through my office to withdraw that relinquishment since its execution. And
Okay.
we would ask the court to grant the voluntary relinquishment and terminate him solely upon that relinquishment.
All right, thank you. Ms. Holcomb, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Holcomb, recommendations?
Your Honor, I know that there have been obviously some concerns with mom, and it seems like we've got those tied up. And I did want to commend her. She reached out to me about that and was able to explain that to me, and I appreciated that. With all that being said, I would like for the department to stay in the case just a little bit longer. I just want to make sure that everything is going good. She's doing good. I don't at this time have any concerns for her. I do know that Javi he has a lot of emotions, and there are times that he gets hard to handle just based on what he's been through. And I want her to be able to have all the help that she can get through that. So I don't think it would be a bad idea for the department to stay in the case just a little bit longer at this point. But again, I don't have concerns about mom. I just want to see a little more stability on that. She seems
Okay.
to be doing everything good at this point. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Ms. Ledbetter, CASA.
Yes, Your Honor. Natalie is doing very well. We have had no concerns. It's to my knowledge, the department was ready to dismiss out until the allegation came about. From discussions with the investigator, he is going to rule everything out because there was nothing found. So Ms. Wyatt asked for, she stated that she believes it would be in Javi's best interest for the case to be dismissed. Natalie's been doing very well. She has gotten him into daycare. She's keeping up with his ECI and all appointments. Natalie does FaceTime CASA very regularly and calls with any concerns and asks all questions, recommendations on how to handle some of Javi's behaviors. So we do believe it would be in Javi's best interest to dismiss the case.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, I've heard a little bit about there might be some Facebook still between this George Molina and Miss Silva. I think she's doing a great job too, but I tend to agree with Miss Holcomb. I don't think it certainly can't hurt to just wait another 60 days just to be sure nothing's there that we're not aware of now. So I commend you too, Miss Silva. I don't think this is going to be any problem. I think we'll just so the court feels confident that we've done all we can for you and that there's not any further contact between you and Mr. Molina. So as of today, I'm going to continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the placement of Javi back with his mother. I'm going to, I do find that it's in the best interest of Javier Montoya that the parental rights of the father, Jose Montoya, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today on an interlocutory basis based on Texas Family Code section 161.001 subsection B1K, as well as the affidavit of relinquishment that's on file. That'll be an interlocutory termination until we come back in 60 days. I'll set the final for July 10th, 2026. It will be by Zoom, just like today's hearing. So parties can ask their lawyers or anybody can go on the court's online docket a day or two before July 10th to see what time of day we'll have that hearing. Okay, then we'll be back to wind this case up on July 10th. We'll be in recess on this case, and I will be back to call it a Gray County case. That's a final hearing that I understand is going to be heard as a permanency hearing on a Gray County case involving the Honeycutt child. I'm going to take a few minutes. I was not aware of Mr. Hamker having any kind of intervention, so I'm going to try to look into that real quickly. I may not be able to, but I may be asking y'all some questions about it. So, okay, if we'll be in recess, everybody have a good weekend. And if you're back for the next hearing, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good weekend.
You too. I will call Gray County case cause number 41419. It's set as a final hearing. The department's asking that we treat it as a permanency hearing today instead of final 3 months out. Mr. Graff is covering for Mr. Alvey for the department. Ms. Ledbetter's with us for CASA. I'm sorry, Ms. Talley's with us for CASA on this one.
Your Honor, we have a volunteer in the.
Okay, who's that?
Peggy.
Peggy Cheney? Okay, let me get her in.
Thank you, Your Honor.
While we're at it, I also have Ashley Warren and Hannah Nichols. Do we need either of them in?
Your Honor, they're my clients. Ms.
Okay.
Warren, Ashley Warren is.
Okay. I hadn't seen the intervention until today. That's why I was looking at it before I came back. That's another reason we're running a little late.
That's fine.
So Ashley Warren is with us. Is David Brent Warren with us? Are they together?
I don't know if they're signing in at the same time. It may be just her.
Okay. Ms. Warren, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. We are
Okay.
here.
You're both of you. Okay. That's all I needed. Thank you. Let me get that put in my notes real quick. Okay, so the potential intervenors, Ashley and David Warren, are with us, as well as their attorney, Mr. Hamker. Ms. Archer's with us representing Lacey Scott. I show, oh, there's Ms. Scott. We have her. Michael Honeycutt, I don't show him in the waiting room. He's not with us that I'm aware of. Is Mr. Honeycutt with us or not? No?
Should.
Okay.
Yes, he is. He is. He is. He is with us.
Is he with you, Miss Scott?
Yes, sir.
I'm right here.
All right. All right. For the record, then, Mr. Honeycutt is also with us. That's all the parties. I have Hannah Nichols in the waiting room. I don't know who that is.
Ms. Kopic is not there.
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Collins, are you able to stand in for Ms. Kopic?
I can sure try.
Thank you.
Do we know who Hannah Nichols is? Anybody?
No, unless Ms. Kopic is using a different account to log in with, we might
Let's
want to
just-
check.
Yeah, let's find out who that is before we get started.
She's the Arrow caseworker.
Okay. Anybody object to her being in?
I have no objection.
No objection.
Okay. She's trying to join now, so. Looks like she's having trouble joining. We'll go ahead and get started, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on her in the waiting room. All right.
Judge,
Mr.
I don't know
Graff.
if you, I don't know if you want to deal with Mr. Hamker's motion first or after we do the review. I will tell you, St. Francis is not objecting to the motion.
Well, until somebody files a motion to strike, then if nobody files that, then they're in. Does any
I
party?
haven't seen a motion to strike, and I believe the motion was filed a week or two back, maybe longer.
Yeah. Does anybody who's presently in the case, does anybody intend to file a motion to strike on the intervention? I'll take your silence as a no. So
I don't even know what that means. I don't know
Well-
what that means.
Well, you got a lawyer to help you with
Yeah.
that. I can't give you legal advice.
We
All
talked
right.
about it, Lacey. We just didn't call it that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Then there not being any objections or motions to strike filed, then I will grant motion the permission for leave to intervene by the Warrens and Mr. Hamker.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll get you in order.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Graff, then we are ready to proceed.
Ms. Collins, are you able to give the court an update as to the parents' compliance progress as well as how the child is doing?
I can. Do you want me to go ahead and do it, or do you need to swear me in, Judge Graham?
Oh, sorry. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, thank you.
The child is doing very well in the foster home. There's absolutely no concerns in the placement and how well the child is doing in the home. As far as mom is concerned, she did get out of prison. She did go to Hutchinson County. According to her, those charges were dropped and she is out, and there's not going to be any follow-up. Cassie has not been able to verify that. That's what mom has reported. She has completed and provided us an additional certificate that Cassie will get filed. The father has indicated he wants to file an affidavit of relinquishment, which we were going to take care of next week.
And I understand that they're needed to facilitate the availability of a notary in order to make that happen. And that's why it's next week. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. The DFPS office in Pampa doesn't have a notary anymore.
Okay. And what is your recommendation in terms of is mom partially compliant?
She's partially compliant. We would like her to go ahead and drug test since she's been out for almost a week. I know that she had indicated to Cassie that she would like to have some contact with the child. There is some reservations with that because she really hasn't seen the child since June of 2025, but we definitely would like a hair and a UA prior to that even occurring.
Okay. And the child is thriving in foster care, I understand.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Archer.
Yes, does she relate to you if she has employment or not?
She has not. My understanding from Cassie is that her plan, she's on parole and her plan is to move to Austin.
And does she have a copy of her service plan, or is that something you could get her since she's been out?
Yeah, Cassie had, for some reason, mom had gotten the wrong service plan from a previous worker. So Cassie was going to get her one. As of today, I do not know if that has happened.
Okay. And would you be willing to double check on that after the hearing?
Yeah, and I can even send it to her if Lacey will give me her email address.
Perfect. And do you know what services mom has remaining?
Not specifically without checking. I know counseling is one of them that we're gonna have her do. She's done.
Sorry, interrupt. Ms. Coppett just entered the waiting room. Let's get her in.
Cassie
Okay.
might be better to answer the service question.
All right,
Thank you,
so
Marvel.
for the record, Cassie Coppock has now joined us. Ms. Coppock, if you'd unmute and raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Collins started testifying on behalf of the department, but we're to a question I think they think that you're better qualified to answer, so you can proceed.
Cassie, can you give the court an update? Ms. Archer was just asking what specific services mom has completed. If you know, can you please give an update?
While she was incarcerated, she did a parenting course, and then she also did an anger management course. She did tell me that she was going to move to the Austin area, and she said it was going to be like this weekend. And I told her once she got there, we can get her a courtesy worker to set her up with the services that are also on her service plan.
And what is still outstanding from her family plan of service, if you know?
Well, we asked her to do an OSAR evaluation. We asked her to do a psychosocial evaluation. We want her to have housing and employment and individual counseling, and then follow any recommendations made from them, from the services.
Thank you. Sorry, Ms. Archer, I didn't know if you had additional questions, but I figured I'd intervene there for you.
And random drug screens. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Thank you.
Ms. Archer, any other questions?
Yes. Cassie, would the department be opposed to in-person visits now that Lacey is out if she drug screens and it's negative today?
I think that would be fine, but if she's going to move to the Austin area, I mean, how is she going to come for the visits? Like, I think if we're going to start visits, they need to be consistent, not just once here and there.
And has she told you if she has a job or not?
We didn't talk about that.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harris?
Ms. Coppock, the child is doing well in placement, correct?
Yes, he's doing great.
Very bonded with the family.
Yes.
And that family has obviously made their intentions known of adoption. Is that correct?
Yes.
What's your opinion on the potential adoption?
Well, I mean, they've been caring for him since he was a few days old. They're the only family that he's known. So, I mean, they're good people. They would provide a good, safe environment for him.
Has there been any visitation scheduled for mom?
They had visitation prior to her going to be they had visitation at the beginning of the case. Both the parents did virtually prior to the incarceration of the mother, and then after that, they haven't had any visits.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hamker, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Coppage, if there were to be any visitation ordered, would it be what would be in the child's best interest? Virtual visitation or supervised visitation? What did you think is the best?
Well, visitation would be supervised. I mean, if she has, I think that if she is going to have visitation, it needs to be consistent. So if she's going to be in the area or stay in the area where it would be in person, then it needs to all be in person or it needs to all be virtual. Because I mean, I think that if we're going to introduce, because I mean, she's practically a stranger. He was very, very young when he had visits before. So it just needs to be consistent. And she needs to have a complete drug screen as well. Because I mean, I know she's been incarcerated, but just because of the history.
I understand. And would you, what time limit would you think would be appropriate if that is ordered for visitation?
Well, we usually do start out with an hour.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Honeycutt, you don't have a lawyer. Do you have any questions for Ms. Coppin?
No, sir.
Okay. And I know I've done this before, but I'll go ahead and do it right now before I forget. We've adjudicated you in this case as the biological father of Wilder. So you have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, you have the right to ask the court to consider whether or not you're entitled to a court-appointed attorney at no cost to you. That would be based on the court finding that you're indigent. Were you aware of that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to ask for an attorney?
I don't really need one just to garnish my rights, do I? To sign them over.
I can't give you legal advice, but just realize are you telling me you want to relinquish?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I can't tell you whether or not you need a lawyer or not. It's just up to you. The department, based on what you're telling me, I can tell you the department can provide you with the affidavit of relinquishment, and they'll get witnesses together. I say the department, it could be St. Francis. You can sign that without a lawyer, but I just want to be sure you understand if something comes up and you feel like you need a lawyer, you have the right to ask for that lawyer until we are completely through with this case. I just wanted to be sure you understand that right.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then, if nobody has anything further from Ms. Kopic, does anybody?
I do, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Kopic, in one of the reports that Antar Outley filed in February, it has that Ms. Scott completed a psychosocial and counseling. And so I wanted to follow up with you to see if that's correct.
I don't have any documentation of that. I mean, if she wants to tell me where she completed it, we can try to get that information, but I don't have it in our record.
Okay, and that was just for your reference, that was the report filed February 20th.
Okay.
So that might be something we want to check further into. That's all, Judge.
Hey, anybody else?
No, sir.
All right, then. Anything further from the department as far as witnesses?
No, Your Honor, department rests.
All right, thank you. Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
Yes, I'd like to call Lacey Scott.
Okay. Ms. Scott, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ms. Archer.
Ms. Scott, have you finished counseling?
Yes. And if they can call up to the hobby unit at for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and I was 100% compliant with my counseling. They just have to call up there and get the records.
Okay, and how about a psychosocial assessment?
I don't really one.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
I don't really remember ever having one done.
Okay, and how about, did you attend AA or NA?
Yes, a few.
Okay, and would that be would the prison unit have those records as well?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have any criminal cases pending?
No, ma'am. I'm free and clear.
Do you have any warrants for your arrest?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have a job?
No, ma'am.
You don't have a job?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Or do you plan on getting a job?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you willing to try to complete the services in this case?
Yes.
Okay. And are you requesting in-person visits with Wilder?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you willing to stay local so that you can have in-person visits?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you willing to drug screen so you can get a visit?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Graff, any questions?
Would you be willing to drug test today if the court ordered it, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions, Judge.
All right. Mr. Honeycutt, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Harris.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Archer, any other witnesses?
Not today, Judge.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you, Mr. Hamker. Did you have questions?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Ms. Scott, would you be willing to submit yourself for a psychiatric evaluation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have a home at the current time?
Yes, sir.
Where are you living?
I'm living in Pampa right now, but I'm going to Austin tomorrow.
Okay. Why are you going to Austin?
Because that's where my original parole. I mean, I can stay in Pampa for in-person visits, but my original parole address is in Austin.
All right. All right. And so you have a parole officer that you're to report to on how frequently?
On a monthly basis.
All right. Do you have transportation?
No, sir.
All right. How old are you, ma'am?
37.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, anyone else?
No, you're
All right. All right, then. Any other witnesses from anybody?
I have no witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. I didn't ask Ms. Coppock, did you want you've heard Mr. Honeycutt's testimony. He wants to relinquish. Do you want drug tests from both or just mom?
I think just for mom, since he's going to relinquish.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
If I was to take a drug screen and pass, could I get a visit?
I don't typically give parents visits when they're wanting to relinquish. No. So, all right, then, where are y'all? You said you're in Pampa today, Miss Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I forget the name of the Pampa testing site.
It's Prestige, but I think that they close at noon.
Okay, well, if she's in Pampa, she can just drive across town if you can get the 2054 over there.
I see Ms. Collins nodding yes.
Okay. Okay, give me just a second. In the meantime, Mr. Harris, your recommendations?
Yeah, I recommend that all placements be continued and improved with regard to any sort of visits. Judge, I don't know. That's a tough call for me because I don't know. I mean, we're not in any sort of therapy, so I would almost need a therapist recommendation or somebody with more knowledge than me about the effect that would have on the child with regard to seeing them. So I'm sorry, Judge, I'm going to punt that one.
Well, I understand. I've got the same concern, but I also know that you can't hardly get a therapist in for a 1-year-old.
Right.
Okay. Casa, anything to add?
Yes, Judge. I took an oath to look out for the best interest of this child in my case. And his best interest is to be adopted by the Warrens. He is very safe there. They are the only parents that he has ever known. Ms. Scott only made one in-person visit on March the 21st, 25, according to the records I was sent by the CPS observer, Jennifer I just can remember her maiden name, Jennifer. She made no attempt while she was in jail to write a letter to Wilder expressing her love for him or her care for him. She did
I
not
didn't know how
ask
to get
for
in
a
touch with
picture.
them.
She did not ask for any Zoom visits.
Excuse me, Miss Cheney. Excuse me. I've
Yes.
muted you, Miss Scott, since you're interrupting our proceedings. So I'm going to leave you muted. Now, Miss Cheney, go ahead.
Okay, it's Wilder is thriving here. Ashley and David held him while he went through withdrawals from drugs.
Okay, Miss
They
Cheney,
are the only parents he's ever known.
Excuse me, I want to stop you. We're not at the final hearing, so
Okay.
I don't really need to know. I understand you want the parents terminated, but I just need to know if you have anything that we need to deal with today. I can't terminate them today.
You cannot okay, if we can't terminate today, then
No, ma'am.
okay, thank you. That's it.
I would assume that you would be recommending that Wilder's placement remain with the Warrens.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right then. As I previously stated, I have granted the Warrens permission for leave to intervene. They are now parties to this case as intervenors. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator. I'll continue Wilder's current placement. I'll order Ms. Scott to both hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. I'm sorry, by noon today at Prestige in Pampa. If Ms. Scott's UA and hair strand tests are negative, then I'll order that she begin virtual visits. I'm just not comfortable. I'm not sure she's going to end up in Austin or Tampa, so we'll start out virtual and see how that goes. So, okay, at the request of the department, I'm going to set a final in this case for August 5th, 2026. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties can ask their lawyers or anybody can ask St. Francis or the department, or you go on the court's online docket a day or two before August 5th. You'll know exactly what time of day we're going to have that hearing, so you're not waiting around in the waiting room. So, okay, this was our last hearing for the day, so we will be in recess. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I will call Dallin County case cause number 13025. This is a permanency hearing involving the Leon child. Mr. Graff is with us, covering for Mr. Albee for the department. Ms. Ledbetter is with us for CASA. Ms. Archer is with us representing the child. Ms. Grant is with us representing the father, Mr. Gomez, who is with us. The mother, Ms. Jimenez, is not with us, not in the waiting room. We have Ms. Sass to interpret for Mr. Gomez.
Is Ms. Angrani in the?
Yes, she is.
She's my permanency worker, Judge.
Okay, let's get her in.
Claro, šو بيلاق كان مريج الريش بحترق قد بتصير شو بيلاق هنو نمرو الريش ريكاسو أريق وتريب عنهم قد بتصير شريه ري قال اليوم كي جاي قد نان جراف شلكو جوهن شريه ري استاد قوري تات ثارشك بار representar ريقال يقولش كبيلاقو بيه هنا abogado شو تبان representar تات غوميز إيرينان مهياس قد قورال بقد بتصير كان مريج Ire hunchik abogado ko chubi tatarre albicha.
Ms. Sass, I'm getting ready to turn on the interpretation feature. Do you need to tell him to click Kichi and not English?
Okay, thank you. Entonces, chanebri pa pantalla kaulo la chulkiko honnets casilla ka capits re Kiche or español pero capits inglés rechwe katat pansi.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm starting that now. Of course, everyone except for Mr. Gomez and Ms. Sass will click English.
Sí.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Graff, I assume we're ready to go.
Yes, sir. If we could swear Ms. Angrani in and she can give the court an update.
Okay. Ms. Angrani, if you'd raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr. Graff.
Good morning, Ms. Angrani.
Good morning.
Would you be able to give the court an update as to how the child is doing, how the parents are doing with their compliance and progress, and also an update as to the issues related to sending Isabel back to Guatemala?
Isabel is doing great in placement, medical and dental, up to date. She recently had an incident at placement. She fell and hit her hand, but we took care of that. She's doing better. I checked on her the other day, and she's doing well right now. She's doing great in school, and she has no issue with learning. Her English is great. Regarding the father has completed services. The drug screen is negative until this month. It's still all negatives. And I received the certificate of completion for the father. And then he still have a job and still have housing, appropriate place to live in Dalhart, Texas. And regarding mom, I have received documentation that she completed services, individual counseling, and drug screen. It's all in Kichi language, so I have not had a chance to translate. But as soon as I translate in English, I will e-file to the court.
And I understand you also received back the home study that had been expected, but that also requires translation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. But I think my supervisor Venus translated it by Google Translate the other day for the home study. I e-filed to the court using the Quiche language, but the home study is completed, and based on the recommendation on that home study is that's the best interest for Isabel to be reunited with the mother.
Okay. And are you asking for a repatriation order to be issued by the court?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Grant?
Nerdy, Mr. Gomez is in favor of the child returning to the mother, Miss Jimenez. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he has continually expressed that even though he's done his services and he is compliant in the case, he does believe that's in the best interest of the child. Is that true?
Yes.
And do you agree with his decision in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Archer?
Ms. Sangrani, how often is Isabella speaking to her mother?
Every time Isabel has in-person visit, they video chat with the mother. We gave Mr. Gomez 3 hours per visitation per week, and they always communicate with mother.
And does mother only speak Spanish? Or Quiche?
Quiche, yeah.
Okay. Is Isabella able to communicate with her mother in Quiche still?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I thought I'd read in some report that she's losing her Quiche and speaking mostly English.
Yes, but at this time, we also facilitate contact with Mr. Thomas other than the visitation by phone. So Mr. Gomez can call Isabel anytime, and the placement let Isabel talk to the dad in their language, in Quiche and Spanish, both.
And do you know if Isabella is wanting to return to her mother?
At first, she was hesitating to return, but then since now we had a lot of visitation with mom through WhatsApp, she says it's okay. That's what Isabel said to me.
And how long has it been since Isabel's been with her mother?
I think I believe it's since the beginning of the case, they always video chat with the mom.
How long has Isabella been in America?
I think 4 years, 3 or 4 years. 4 years.
So at what age did she come to America?
4 years old, about, yeah.
Does she remember her life in her home country at all?
I don't believe so, but the way that they video chat, she remembers. She told me that she remembers she has siblings. She has 3 siblings, and she told me about it every time she has a visit with me.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Nerdy, you said that you've got a home study. Was the home study approved?
Yes.
Okay. You know it's not been translated, but you know it was approved?
Yes.
How do you know that? Can you read Quiche?
No, we translated into Google Translate. My supervisor did that yesterday, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Is Isabella in counseling? That was a question that Casa had raised.
Yes,
Is she still seeing a counselor?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Mr. Graff, anything further from the department?
Just one question. Has the counselor expressed any reservations about the plan to repatriate?
I have not spoken to the counselor at this time, but it's been but I could find out from the counselor if I, hear from
But you're not aware of any objections at this point?
no.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Mr. Graff, anything further from the department?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Department rests.
Ms. Grant, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
Yes, I'd like to call CASA.
Okay.
I'll be speaking on behalf of CASA today.
Okay. Ms. Gregory, if you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Archer?
Ms. Gregory, how often do you see Isabella?
Approximately once a month.
And do you feel like she's lost her native language?
Yes. I think she primarily speaks in English now.
Have you listened to her visits with her mother? Have you been there?
No, ma'am.
Does she speak to her mother to you about her mother?
She has expressed that she talks to her mom during visits. Yes.
Does she speak more to you about her father?
Yes.
Okay. Does she seem very connected with her father?
Yes.
Have y'all spoken at all about her returning to her home country?
Yes. She expressed, I think initially she was a little resistant to the idea, and I think that she has since expressed that she would feel comfortable going back to Guatemala if she needed to, but has been very clear that she would prefer to be reunited with her father. And that has not changed throughout the duration of the case.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Graff, any questions for Ms. Gregory?
Just one, Your Honor. Ms. Gregory, you don't yourself speak Quiche, do you?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. Pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Grant?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. If any further witnesses from anyone?
No, Your Honor.
Can I call Tomas Gomez Solis?
Sure. Mr. Solis, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth?
Y por ejemplo que si, okay. Por ejemplo, porque cuajonek ya no, por ejemplo, cuaj la pero no sé lo que pasa la ali biha rik cuajin ya ukat papak pero no sé sakan que
I'm not sure where we're going here. I asked him a simple question.
y jala bih shwe entonces cuajin echa uk papak cuaj tajin mal más que
I just asked him if he was going to tell the truth. Take that as a yes. All right, go ahead, Ms. Archer.
Tomas, you've done all your services, correct?
Sí.
And have you been
todo lo que
Sir, just answer the question you're asked.
Have you been working hard to get Isabella back?
Sí.
And did you come to America to give Isabella a chance at a better life?
Sí.
And do you feel like you could keep her safe here?
Sí, que vi anche que che joral que coge pestura para que sale más mejor, pero corre que vi
Do you feel like it's in her best interest to be with you or to be with her mother?
porque vi anche que che tal vez más más aprender inglés y que enchoche español y que enchoche potire co hago came igual los tres idiomas, entonces co anche que coge pestura que más sale más mejor. Entonces, pues, cubrir la nepa, cubrir cualquier día papá, cualquier día cubrir.
That's the witness.
Anyone else have questions for Mr. Solis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Solis, you've expressed previously to the department or to St. Francis that you thought it would be better for her to go back to her mom in Guatemala. Have you not?
Sí, خلاص نبيع.
Okay. Has your position changed?
Hash نبيع نبيمر تك إيركو ماما, pero arila hakako bia chikin iau papá kcha, pero chankin han pensado chanim rich que kwak piwuk, pero la haka inshim bia chik ewa temar ko mamado, pero eko bia chwa chikin slaha papá kcha, pero mamá guatemal ko bia chik kwak pe ne uk kcha, entonces ancho ane que kwak piwuk krak erko mamá ko bia kwak pe ne uk kcha, lo que más ko bia la haka rekin iau kat kcha. Entonces, rila chankin chaplijan.
Is this the first time you've expressed that for our court hearing?
Sí.
Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Ms. Grant?
Tomas, were you recently taken in custody by law enforcement?
Sí.
And are you now out of custody?
Chiquila.
Are you currently facing criminal charges in Dallam County?
No.
Okay. Has your position on the child going to Guatemala changed since you've been released from jail?
No, coaching casa cars. No, coaching enak cars nada. Ya taken 5 años cochi nada, ya que enak cars nada.
Okay, so when you called the office and wanted the child to go to Guatemala, that was not because you had been to jail as someone had communicated, correct?
No, coaching bih anchin cop cars, reshu bih chuachi, ya hatal lap cars ki chua no en cote enak cars enchi. Si shin ek pasha hospital shin iwi.
Okay. So it is your position today that you believe the child should stay here with you in the United States. Am I correct?
Ajá, cuaj anchik heukche, pero cuando chik que cuando aprender cuajan cos pisturche. Sí, está bien, chi, canchen que mamá, pero allá che cuando que ya diferentes estudiantes colectos cuajan en chi chi que habitas más hoy en que le coan más historiar.
Okay. So any previous requests to return her to Guatemala are no longer accurate from you. I would draw the question, Your Honor. I'm going to pass the witness. I think the previous answer was clear enough.
Anyone have anything further for Mr. Solis?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Archer, any other witnesses?
No, Judge.
All right. If no one has further witnesses, then Ms. Archer, recommendations?
My recommendation is that the child stay where she is for now. I would also like to get that counselor report before the next hearing.
Absolutely. Ms. Gregory, anything on behalf of CASA?
Yes. CASA at this time recommends a step-up reunification plan with the father. He's worked all services and has alleviated any of the initial concerns associated with removal. He's demonstrated a safe and appropriate housing. We still have serious concerns about her ability to acclimate appropriately back into a Guatemalan culture, but would recommend that as a contingency plan on this case. I think, to be really candid, I think that Tomas has brought his daughter here to provide a better life for her and has done his best to make that happen. And so at this time, that is our recommendation.
All right, thank you. I read in some report, I don't know which one it was, but something about Mr. Solis could have a letter in case he were to be detained by ICE or anyone else as far as his immigration statute issue, that if he was detained and deported, then if he had some letter that he carries with him at all times, then ICE would consider sending the child back when he was deported, which would mean the child would be back with both parents. So is that, I'm not ruling today. I'm in a fog about this. And I'm not going to send this child back to Guatemala until I've at least heard in person from the counselor. I'm not sending the child back if she can't even communicate with her mother. And until I could read a home study in English that I can understand, I'm not doing anything. So that's where we stand right now. So, Ms. Grant, you were kind of shaking your head. Am I kind of on track about something about this letter?
Yes, Your Honor. It's actually a form application that I can turn in on Tomas's behalf, and we will receive a letter back confirming that he that once this court returns custody to him, that he does have custody of a child, and that his legal status and the child's legal status will coincide and travel together, essentially. So
Okay.
anything that any action immigration takes in regard to Tomas would be concurrently taken in regard to the child.
Okay.
Once he receives custody back of the child.
Okay. I'd kind of like to hear testimony from somebody about that too on the record before I would even consider sending Isabella back to Guatemala. So yeah, I don't have enough information to even consider doing that today. So everybody's going to have to kind of get better prepared for a hearing if I'm going to make that decision, whether Isabella stays here or goes to Guatemala. So Ms. Gregory, yeah.
I just have a quick comment on the letter. CASA had reached out to local law enforcement to receive additional information about what that process would look like in the event that Isabella was returned with Tomas and he was deported. He had expressed that was a significant concern for him and was, quite frankly, was part of the reason that he had initially recommended that she go back to Guatemala. so that she wasn't not in a position where she'd be left here. And so I think that the ability for them to travel back to Guatemala if he is deported has affected his decision and is part of the reason that he wants and feels comfortable providing for her as a primary caregiver moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going to want to hear something from somebody who actually has the
Yes, sir.
expertise to testify about this, what would happen if he were deported. And then, of course, I want to hear directly from the counselor.
Your Honor, I believe we can arrange for an immigration attorney to appear at our next hearing so that the court can ask those questions and we can have an expert weigh in on what that looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not an immigration attorney, but I'm learning enough about it. I can bring someone to answer the court's questions.
Well, and if we need to, then we can always do a deposition, and of course, court will pay for the deposition if it has to be done that way. But I'm going to have to hear from somebody that can give me a definitive answer what happens if he's deported. And then, of course, the counselor, that should not be an issue. I want to hear from Isabella's counselor before I'd consider that. So, okay. Then today I'm just going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue the current placement. I don't have a problem. I will, as of today, I'm continuing the placement. I'll order the department to develop a transition monitored return plan to return the child to Mr. Solis. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set the next hearing. We've got a dismissal date of July 27th. This case has not been extended. I'm going to go ahead. I was going to set the final for July 15th. I'll go ahead and set that as a final. If we get there and we're not ready, I can always make that into a permanency hearing and extend the case. And if anything comes up that anyone thinks we need a hearing sooner than July 15th, just notify my office and we'll get you in real quickly on this case. So,
Does the court wish to order mediation in the meantime? Because I don't believe that's been ordered yet.
I'm a big fan of mediation, so anytime anybody requests it, I'll order it. So, okay. Well, that will take care of that as far as today. That will conclude this hearing. For those of you that are involved, I know you are, Mr. Graff. Ms. Grant is. I'll be back here very shortly to call a Dallam County final hearing on the Montoya child. So we'll be in recess. Everybody have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.